David Axelrod said that this was a very sketchy indictment. Professor Dershowitz, who is not exactly my cheerleader, said that it was outrageous. So I think across the board, you're seeing people weigh in and reflecting that this is way outside of the norm. This is not the way that we settle differences, political differences in this country. You don't do it with indictments. We settle our political differences at the ballot box. And I think, you know, across the board, when you got David Axelrod and Harvard law professor Dershowitz saying the things that they said, I think it's pretty reflective of what we're looking at here.
All right. Well, we happen to have Alan Dershowitz, and we could say it right the first time. Newsmax contributor, author, and, of course, professor of law at Harvard Law School, and author of a great, great book, Taking a Stand, My Life in the Law, which recounts so many great years and great cases that Alan has been involved in. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Always good to talk to you. All right, so talk about this indictment, which many, including, you know, as alluded to, many on the left are coming forward and saying that this indictment was not fair, it was politics, and it may not hold up.
Well, Governor Perry is certainly right that I'm not his cheerleader. If I were a Texan, I'd vote against him. And if he runs for president, he can't count on my vote. You know, I'm a liberal Democrat, but I care deeply about the rule of law and the misuse of the criminal justice system. I was just as vocal against the indictment regarding Tom DeLay, who I didn't like very much either. And I don't like when it's used against Democrats. I don't like when it's used against Republicans. People should read these two statutes that he was indicted on. You can indict any government official under these statutes. One is abuse of office. You know, how many Republicans think that Barack Obama is abusing office? How many Democrats thought that Cheney and Bush were abusing their office? The other one is an attempt to coerce a public official. Hey, have they ever heard of lobbying? I mean, that's what hardball politics is about. In America, presidents threaten vetoes all the time. Senators threaten filibusters. They'll threaten to hold up a nomination. If that all becomes criminal conduct, the jails are going to be filled with public officials, and I don't think we want that.
And of course, in this case, Alan, it's not as if you know, you could claim some kind of gain or whatever. Here, he kind of has a legitimate beef here for not wanting to fund the office that he was trying to cut off funding to, or did cut off funding to, because there was a horrific incident with this woman who was in charge of an integrity unit, and she was stopped for DWI and acted in a terrible manner.
I agree. I mean, I agree with part of what you said. Okay. I agree that she shouldn't have been in office at all. I don't know what his motives were, and they may have been good government. They may have been mixed. She was also apparently investigating some aspects of his administration. So, you know, you get some of these mixed motives. I mean, the same thing's going on in New York now. They're looking into Governor Cuomo. They're looking into the former district attorney of Brooklyn. In Virginia, the former governor is under investigation or indictment. In Wisconsin, it's happening all over the country, and it's a spreading phenomenon. You know, I've represented a lot of former foreign leaders. In many parts of the world, when you've been deposed, I represented the former president of the Ukraine. As soon as you're deposed from office, they indict you. And that's business as usual. The former prime minister is, I think, still in jail now in the Ukraine. That's not the American way. I think Governor Perry was right. We settle political disputes at the ballot box. Vote against them, but don't indict them.
All right, let's move on, and let's talk about what's going on in Missouri. The governor ordering the National Guard out tonight or today, but at the same time taking away the curfew. The Justice Department, very hands-on here, ordering not only the third autopsy, their own, but also had reportedly said, get the tanks off the street and don't release that video that shows the robbery. Is this just gotten way out of hand?
Well, we have now two very different versions. The policeman's version recounted by a third party, don't know how accurate it is, and it has lots and lots of holes in it. But you know, he's claiming that the young man came at him in a bum's rush, and try to grab his gun and that the gun fired. I would think the forensics would demonstrate whether there were any bullet holes in the car or any firing from the car. And we also don't know whether or not there was any residue on the clothing. We do know that there was no residue on the body, which strongly suggests that the bullets were not fired from 6 inches or 4 inches or 3 inches, but they could have been fired from 24 inches away and still leave no residue. So there's a lot of forensics that have to still be evaluated before we come to any decision, and we have to presume innocence. Look, the officer should have presumed the young man innocent, and we now have to presume the officer innocent. And I think, people should not rush to judgment in these cases until all the forensics are in. I'm glad that the family fired Michael Baden, who I know very well and who's a terrific, reputable expert. He's done the second autopsy along with somebody else. And, he's come to some inconclusive conclusions as to whether the entrance wounds are from the back, from the front, from the top as he was leaning over. A lot more investigation has to be done. This is a case that will, since there's no video, and there should be a video, every police encounter should be videoed, but there is no video here, so it's going to have to be inferentially decided by forensics, and people are going to be able to have their own narrative even after all the evidence comes in.
Yeah, so but that being the case, do you believe that this will go to trial?
Hard to tell. I mean, it shouldn't go to trial unless there's proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the officer committed a crime, even if the officer made a terrible mistake. Now, if the account of the eyewitnesses is correct, and if he shot him in the back from 35 feet away, that's a crime. There's no justification for that. But if it turns out that he was rushing the car and he's a very big guy and he was grabbing for the gun, it's a very different case.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there is a video, there are a couple, but one in particular where somebody took the aftermath with the body laying there, and you hear them talking to another guy. What happened? The cop shot him. Yeah, he ran from the cop, then he circled around and he came back and he was charging him. So, I mean, that's a video that could also be a game changer. And 3 witnesses said he got shot in the back. And I know that basically the autopsy that the family did, he said that he was not shot in the back. All shots were from the front. Probably,
although the way in which the exit and entrance wounds in the head came out, it could be that he was bending over and in an awkward position.
Right.
We still don't know for sure. Let's all keep an open mind.
Alan, great to talk to you, sir.
Likewise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alan Dershowitz, folks, Newsmax contributor, and check out Taking a Stand, My Life in the Law. And very interesting. If only everybody could keep an open mind. We'll be back, folks, with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break. But first, stay tuned for your Newsmax Now update. Don't go away.